What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Shift Change. This is episode 15 already, if you can believe that. I'm going to introduce Ashley here in a second, but first, let's get through some life updates and whatnot. First off, thanks everybody, seriously, for listening, for sending texts and emails and pictures of the podcast on your radio. Episode 2 just got to 150 listens. If you don't remember what that was the one titled I Should Not Have Been a Cowboy. It seems good to me that we're at 150. I don't know what success is, like I've said, but it seems pretty cool. AJ's episode quickly rose to number 3 already, and Kit's episode went real fast up the charts. So it's cool to see that these guys have cool stories and they were willing to share them with all of us. But we got more people on the way too that have agreed to share cool stories. We're going to do that. If you're listening to this is Monday. We just wrapped up turkey season, and I can't begin to tell you guys enough like how excited I get for this time of year and how sad I am when it's over. Turkey season is the coolest time of year. It's probably the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Like, if you've ever seen a turkey's face white against that turkey fan backdrop and then quickly change to red and then gobble his butt off and then strut some more, like it's pretty cool. So we filled a tag. We got 2 tags filled in the house. I got 1 tag left. I'm going to try to sneak out this weekend and wrap it up. But if I don't, it's been a pretty cool season. Tiger softball is in full swing, so my house is a little different now. But it is what it is. We're in season 4. We're not new to this lifestyle. We will continue to trudge forward and be efficient and get kids to where they need to be and be present. And it's all gas, no brakes around here right now. It's the day after Mother's Day, so let's give thanks to all those moms out there, especially the ones that had to work yesterday on a Sunday or worked a night shift, or whether that's dispatching, whether that's EMSing, policing, firefighting. Maybe you were on call nursing. You nursed all day and all night with your kids at home. So thanks for your sacrifice. Um, and I hope your day was whatever it is you wanted out of it. Let's talk about today's episode. I'm talking with Ashli Schultz, who is a nurse practitioner in what we would call the wellness space or the functional wellness space. And what that is to me is that's non-conventional healthcare, right? That means you're not going to your typical doctor's office and telling them some things and they're giving you standard issue answers that usually don't include lifestyle changes. Okay. So these people um, listen to your complaints and your illness. And normally I think it's probably just the standard issue. I don't feel good, right? Like you're in your mid 40s, you feel like you're run down a lot, like you're not, to your best. And conventional healthcare will pull a pretty common lipid panel or a blood sample and then give you the stand. Well, your cholesterol's a little high, and you're borderline type 2 diabetic, and blah blah blah, and your blood pressure is getting up there. So let's talk about maybe putting you on some medicines. Well, typically, uh, and it's no fault of their own. The system sets them up for this, right? It's not just the physicians themselves are not nefariously not treating the root cause of things. I think it's just the way the system is set up. So, you standard issue, you get put on a statin, maybe you get put on a blood pressure medicine or the good old metformin, or, I really need to lose 30 pounds. So instead of doing it the right way, here's some Ozempic, whatever. The people in functional wellness take a step back from that and really look at you as a whole being, as a biological being, and try to figure out where you're deficient. Most people can get by with dropping a few pounds and going for walks and seeing the sun and going to bed at night. You're going to see an exponential improvement in probably the way you feel. But there are also people out there that have hormone imbalances or nutrient deficiencies or things that need to be shored up in order to function better in life. And the functional wellness people take that to a higher level. They'll dig deeper. It's and the reason why they'll dig deeper is because it's a cash system, right? Like your health insurance, unfortunately, isn't going to pay for you to feel good. They're not in the business of you feeling good. They're in the business of you feeling like shit, so that they can make money from you. Like that's, I'm sorry. There, medicine has helped a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing the whole system. Like insulin is a cool thing. The polio vaccine is a cool thing. Like antibiotics are a really cool thing. Not saying that. I'm saying generally speaking, um, they're just not in the business of you feeling good. Functional wellness is. So we talk a lot about that. I had to click the explicit button on this one because I slipped and said the F word. And if you want to get me fired up about anything, get me fired up about healthcare, man. Like I just and the inefficient machine that it is, the healthcare industrial complex. Um, I think we do a really good job in this country of treating acute illness and injury, right? So heart attacks, strokes, traumatic injuries. But I think we do a real shit job of managing people's wellness and longevity. There's two books that have really changed my opinion and how I've thought about healthcare and aging. One is Being Mortal by Atul Gawande, who's a physician, about how we, treat the aging population and how we sell hope and things like that. It's a real somber book, so if you don't have the intestinal fortitude to get through it, and you're an emotional being, you're not going to want to read it. Um, but it is worth the read. I know that if you have aging parents, he's going to say some stuff in there that you're not ready to hear, but it's the truth, and we can't keep pretending. Like one thing we all have in common is we're going to die. I don't know when that is, um, for the most part, but we're all going to get there. And I think how we get there matters. I really do. You can live, you know, 4 shitty weeks in a hospital, or you can live 2 really good weeks at home. Take your pick. I know what I pick. I pick 2 good weeks at home, and because of that, I have a power of attorney. I've given that power to two people, neither of which are my wife. Um, Not because I don't trust her to make good decisions, but she just doesn't speak the language. So I picked two women that do speak the language, and they speak woman, so they'll be able to tell my wife, "Hey, this is this is what's going on." I do not want doctors to sell my wife hope that I'm going to, like, there's a chance I'm going to come home and go fishing with the kids again. If there is zero chance that's going to happen, and I think we do that in healthcare. The second book that really changed how I perceive health and wellness and longevity and health span and lifespan is Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. That's a great book. Really fired me up to ask more questions of my healthcare provider, to dig deeper. Uh, LDL cholesterol isn't the answer to the mystery, right? So, and I listen. I'm not a doctor. You're right, Jason. You're not a doctor. How can you talk about this kind of stuff? Nope, I'm not talking as a doctor. I'm talking as a guy who can interpret information and make a reasonable decision about that information. Okay, my LDL of 130 is not a threat to me. Zero. I know that the industry wants me under 100, but 130 is not going to kill me. No. And to put me on a statin because I have reached that pinnacle number of 101 or greater, um, is probably not the answer. Now, that book sheds lights on the things that you should look at and the lipid numbers you should pay attention to. And that was a big eye opener to me. So I went into my new physician and I said, "Listen, this is a job interview. I'm interested in pulling all these labs." And she was real on board with it. She's like, "Your insurance won't cover it." And I said, I don't care. I give two shits. I'll pay for it. Not because I have the means, but because I have the attitude. Like, I deserve to know what's going on inside me, whether my insurance company will pay for it or not. And that's the attitude you need to take. Find a physician that aligns with you somehow, some way. If you do triathlons, try to find a doctor that also does them. If you lift, find a doctor that lifts. Um, if you're a if you're a mom, if you're an aging mom, try to find somebody that is like you. Um, if your insurance will allow it, like we're all jammed up with in network and out of network and all that other bullshit that goes along with the industrial healthcare complex. But my doctor was real on board. She pulled a bunch of stuff, and I have a lot of good information about me, and all good news. Like, seem to be doing it correctly, and not that that can't turn on a dime with a tragic, diagnosis or finding in the near future. But right now, I'm hitting on all cylinders, and I'm grateful for that. But it takes work. Like, you can't just blindly go through life ambivalent to the fact that eating a bunch of shit food won't make you feel like shit. That seems, like a standard consequence. Um, one of one of my favorite quotes so far that I've come across in life is go too far, because that's where you'll find the truth. So if a surface level answer doesn't sound good to you, if it doesn't make sense to you, then ask some more questions and be like, I don't know that makes any sense to me. Can you explain that further? Like, you're telling me because I'm 45, I should take a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon every day. Is that what you're saying? That's not true. That's my rant on healthcare. If you guys want to talk more about it, I nerd out on this stuff. I will talk to you all day long about this, and I don't have all the right answers. And I've certainly changed opinions from time or two on certain things. But isn't that the point? Like, if you don't if you believe something 20 years later, like it probably has to be very it has to be a devout concept for you to do that without changing your mind. And thanks to the information era, we have information available to us. So if something doesn't sound right to you, do your own research. What else? That's it. Let's talk to Ashli Schultz about a functional wellness. Listen to her story. She's got a really great story of how she discovered this and how her own symptoms that were masked by chronic night shifts um, led to her discovery that she had an autoimmune disease, and she was able to correct things and find out how it turned out. Next week, I don't have anything on the books for next week, so it's probably good. It's going to be me talking shit for 30 minutes. I think I'm going to talk about habits and how to build habits and how to get rid of old habits. I'm not an expert, but I do know that I've been trying real hard to not instinctively react a certain way to certain things, and I continue to do it, and it's driving me insane. Like, I can't figure it out. Like, I know I'm just wired a certain way, but I'm really trying hard to not automatically assume the worst in people, but it's hard for me to do. So until then, work hard, be kind. Bye. You sure you're ready to go? Because we're going.
Ready.
What's up, Ashli?
Not much. It's good to see you.
It is really good to see you. How long have you not been on our team?
It has been a couple years now, about the last year of NP school, and then I've been here for almost 6 to 8 months.
Here at the wellness clinic?
Yep.
Sleeping in your own bed every night. How's that going?
Every night, working, 9 to 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is this the 95 Monday through Friday gig?
Monday through Thursday.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. No, it's a really good life-work balance.
There's people in our business that would say going to work 4 days in a row is terrible. I'm one of those. That doesn't sound awful.
No, I can, get up, work out, get things done around the house, get to work on time, either come in, get some charts done, get home, have dinner with family.
Daily routine.
Yep.
Don't miss the stuff. Tell everybody how you started in nursing. Where'd you go to school? You graduated from, don't tell me, Nevada, Iowa.
Correct.
And then what?
When I always knew I wanted to be a nurse, but in high school I got my CNA, was working in a nursing home. My grandma was a nurse.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you have
Yep.
influence in your life? Your grandma and who?
My grandma and my aunt were both nurses, so I always knew I was going to be a nurse. So I went directly to Mercy out of high school, got my ASN degree, started working in oncology. At that time, I wanted to work in ER, but they did not accept new grads. And so
shut up. Man, we've come a long way, haven't we?
It was a conversation with the director pretty much begging, like I did my last rotation through school in the ER and loved it, and I thought, gosh, I know I can do this. And she's like, nope, you have to have at least 2 years experience.
Jesus, not anymore, man.
No,
right up.
not
anymore.
Not only,
but I don't think there's an ASN degree anymore. Is that right? Like,
there is. It's like the 2-year degree.
That's still available.
Yep.
Yeah, not being a new grad thing is a thing of the past.
Yeah. So I went to oncology and I loved it. I loved
for real
patients. Yeah.
Because that seems to me like it'd be real sad almost every day.
It was, but they are so appreciative and just have a different outlook on life. So it was good. But right around that 2-year mark, I reached out again to the director in the ER and said, I'm ready now. Like I put in my time and went down and worked in the ER for 5 years. And, I never even considered becoming a flight nurse until I got into the ER. That job never crossed my mind. And then I thought, okay, well, I have quite a bit of experience. Let me try this.
So you wanted to try it because you would see the team interact in the ER, or because of the types of patients you would see in the ER and the things that you would get to do?
I think both, and like just what was the next step? Like how can I further my career? Like I want to learn more, I want to do more. What's next? So
you came on the team in 2012.
Yep, 2012.
In what capacity? Full-time, part-time? I don't remember. I was there in 2010. Was one of the OG Knoxville people. And honestly, there's a lot of blur.
I know. And honestly, I think I was either PRN, maybe part-time.
Yeah, who knows?
For a little bit.
A lot of us started that, it was PRN part-time, or was part-time and then back to PRN and then back to full-time. There was a lot of different, I don't remember how we all started. I don't even remember the status of half our team right now. I have to ask Jen Randall every now and then if she's full-time or part-time. I don't know. She's been there as long as me. But anyway, so 2012, got on the flight team. Pretty cool?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great.
Did you have a second job on that, or do you remember? Did you work part-time
in
the ER?
I was still working in the ER at the time. Yep. And then, eventually left the ER and started to do PICC line. So I've always had a couple jobs. Yeah.
So most notably, what's going to segue into this conversation is your chronic night shift work. So eventually through your career, you said it was 2018. From wherever you were, you transitioned to a full-time weekend nights, meaning that you worked every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night from 7 p to 7 a.
Correct. From 2018 till I left.
Which was?
2021.
Okay.
22.
So 3 years.
3 or 4 years on nights.
There's 56 weekends in a year, I assume, right? If I'm doing the math right.
6. No, I think we got 3 weekends off, like 6 full days maybe.
So every weekend you had to flip your schedule so it sounds awful, I'm not going to lie. And you did it for 3 years. So you would live a normal, air quote, week, probably from Tuesdays to Thursday, which is only 3 days. And then Friday you had to figure out how to flip your schedule and flip your sleep. And so walk us through your routine.
Yeah. It kind of depends what I had going on Friday. Sometimes it was a crapshoot and I would have to, I was up 24 hours that day. Other times I'd try to sleep in maybe try to take an afternoon nap. But I would say usually Fridays it was close to a 24-hour awake cycle. And then I would almost fall asleep driving home Saturday mornings, get home and for the first couple years, I could sleep till it was time to, quote, get back up, usually like around that 4:35 o'clock mark. But the longer I did it, the harder I got, it was to sleep. So I'd be up at like noon, maybe 1 o'clock and, just stay up then. And then around that 2, 3 a.m. hour, it was a struggle to stay awake.
Did you, so two things. So Monday morning after your shift, what was your recovery period like? How long did it take you to get back to, quote, normal? Or did you go back to normal? Did you try to keep that same inverse schedule throughout the week, which also sounds terrible? So God bless the people that work chronic night shifts.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing and just balls and ovaries of steel. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's awful. So Monday morning, 7 a.m., after being up for 3 nights, inversely, which we're not made for. Biologically, we're not built to do that. Did you recover, and how long was that recovery?
I'd try to sleep maybe till noon or so, get up so that I could turn around and go back to sleep that night. Felt terrible on Mondays. And hopefully by like Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday-ish, I was feeling, quote, back to what I considered normal.
Just in time.
Just in time to do it all over again.
Did you medicate?
Yep.
Do you mind sharing? Because I used to experiment
too. I did Provigil for a while.
Yeah.
So for like they use it for narcolepsy, but they also use it for shift workers. I didn't feel like that really did much. I've done Adderall.
My Provigil makes me like I'm doing right now, just my eyes wide and like I'm still tired.
Yeah.
But I just feel better about it. I'm more alert, but it feels like you're holding my eyelids open with like clothespins. I cut down my dose if I still need it, which I haven't used it for years, but every now and then. So just the other night, I worked at 24 on, doesn't matter, Tuesday, and then had a Des Moines night shift on Wednesday. So I was essentially up for 2 days. Mm-hmm. It was awful. And so I took a half a Provigil at like 5 p.m. before my night shift because I knew it would give me, a little bit through that peak time. But I don't use it reoccurring anymore. Like normally, I'll just try to get it out. If I have to work a Des Moines night shift because I wasn't as regular as you. I work 2 Des Moines night shifts every 6 weeks, maybe 3. And I do what you do. Sorry, man. Yeah. I got life and it goes on, and I'll try to relax and not burn a bunch of energy. But it's usually a 24-hour deal. And then I have to get back, and then I have that inverse where I might take a 2-hour nap in the morning, but I'm up by 11. And then, you know what? All I can do is think about is going back to bed. And sure as shit, when I go back to bed at 9 o'clock, I'm wide awake.
Wide awake.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
And so then here comes the downers.
Yep.
So what'd you use to come down?
Ambien.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I used to do
melatonin, Ambien.
I got off the melatonin because I don't trust it. And there's good research out there that shows that, it's a hormone, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second. And I don't really know how much is in there. And if I put 10 milligrams of melatonin in me, like, what does that do for my other hormones? So I kind of got off it. And I don't know that it did or didn't work.
I think it's good. I'd be, as long as you have good quality supplement, I don't think there's harm in taking it.
When I was part-time on the team and full-time with my 24/48 job, I had to work 24 hours a week on the flight team in between my every third day on the station. Oh. Yeah, and I did that for 3 years. Me and a couple other guys. Certainly not sustainable. I gutted it out for 3 years, but there was a lot of mixing and matching. Like there was Ambien, there was Ativan, there was an Ambien to take a nap, there was 2 Ambien to take a good night's sleep, and then I'm not gonna tell you what happened when I took 3 Ambien, but I don't recommend it, nor should you. And then Benadryl. Right.
I've never gotten the Benadryl kick. It makes me feel terrible. So that is one I never used.
I found over the years that nothing really works, so therefore I do nothing. I try to exercise, I try to cold plunge, I try to get a really good night's sleep the night before. I try not to burn a lot of energy, but as far as medicating goes, it all blows. Yeah. It all sucks.
We are not meant to mess up our circadian rhythms.
Exactly correct.
It affects us greatly on the, once in a while, maybe if we're up with like a sick kid, but to do this like routinely for our job, someone's got to do it.
New mothers. New mothers that are constantly breaking, and they gut it out because that's what they do. They're moms, and I remember those days where, Lindsay was up on a feeding schedule or whatever, and she seemed to be very successful at it and seemed to do very well. But me, if I get a little interrupted
by whatever, my bladder or whatever, the night before 24, I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so you did this for 3 years, and you probably saw a decline. At least we saw some physical signs that this wasn't working out well. Go through that a little bit.
Oh, I can remember this like yesterday. I would have to get up at 7 a.m. on the when I was home during the week, take my daughter to school, a few miles down the road, come back, and I would be so tired I'd have to take a nap.
Yeah.
So I would take a nap till lunchtime, get up, have lunch, and then pretty soon, have to go pick her back up. And I was drinking energy drinks as soon as I woke up just to function at a semi-normal energy level. For a while I was doing CrossFit and loved it, but then slowly I would get injured and that injury wouldn't heal, and it'd be one thing after another after another. I got to the point like I'd get out of bed and I would have to hold on to the bed because my knees and my back hurt so bad.
And you and I talked about this because everybody knows that I'm an avid CrossFitter, right? Like here we go. I haven't gotten 12 minutes and 16 seconds in without talking about CrossFit. And I remember having conversations with you, and you said, and I'll own this because I pawned it off. I was like, this isn't true, Ashli. You were like, I think I have adrenal fatigue from CrossFit. And I'm like, I don't think you do, right? And here's why. Because I don't, and nobody I watch on TV that trains 6 hours a day seems to have adrenal fatigue. And I was like, I don't buy it. I think it's something different. But you were injured a lot.
I was injured a lot.
And that goes against, that's why everybody said, that's why you shouldn't CrossFit, bro. Sure. Okay, so you're injured a lot. I could see your complexion change.
Yeah,
over the years.
Terrible joint pain. Like to pick up I can remember like trying to pick up my water bottle. I couldn't hold it. My hands hurt so bad. It was, and then, I'd been on the team at this point for several years. We used the same protocols, same dosages, and I couldn't remember them.
Oh, brain
So
fog.
I would have to pick my phone up and, grab our protocols out. Even flight to flight, couldn't remember them.
Do you know, how long after you started your chronic night shifts that this stuff started? Do you have any bouts?
About by the end of the first year of night shift. So by the end of 2018, this has all started. And so
there wouldn't be any indication that this is some sort of metabolic issue other than this is what chronic night shifts do to you, is they just F you up. Is that what you thought?
So far, yeah.
Okay.
So I would,
What are you doing at this point to mitigate these symptoms?
Trying to eat as healthy as possible. At the time, I wasn't extremely versed in nutrition. I'd go to my family doc. My dad had thyroid cancer. My mom has hypothyroidism. So I kind of always figured at some point it's kind of in my future possibly. So, please, check my thyroid because I'm not losing weight like I should for the activity that I'm putting in, for the food that I'm eating.
Did they do it?
They did, and my TSH was, quote, normal, which it always has been.
Normal or optimal? Is there a difference?
There is quite a difference.
Oh,
there is quite a difference.
We're going to talk about that today, aren't we?
Yeah.
So that pisses me off.
Oh, God.
Because, and the big thing that it pisses me off because testosterone is such a big range, and so we're going to talk about this in a little bit. They will claim that it's normal or your blood glucose is normal, sure, but is it optimal? And that's what, oh my God. So let's keep on with your story because it's going to go on.
Yeah.
So your so after that you heard that from a physician, a doctor, a scientist, and you said, okay, I guess there's nothing I can do. So now what?
So, family, well, then one of the main kickers is I was sitting doing, I don't know what I was filling out, something for my daughter for school, and I forgot how to spell her name.
Oh, for shit's sakes. Really?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Which, granted, I spelled it funny. Anyways, that's my fault.
Sure.
But I wrote it out, and I'm like, this can't be right. And I wrote it again, and I'm like, oh, my God, I am going crazy. Like, I'm having a stroke, or I've got something is really wrong with me. And I went in, they offered me an MRI, and I'm like, kind of by that time thinking, like, God,
You went into the emergency room?
I went into the clinic. I went into the clinic and saw actually one of our old ER doctors.
I bet I knew who it is.
Mm-hmm,
good.
Yeah. And I'm like,
knew who you
bawling.
Were.
Yeah,
knew
who I was.
And listened.
Yes.
And actually listened to you.
And he's like, well, we can do it, like a head CT, or I can't remember CT or MRI they offered. And, I accepted, but then I never ended up going and getting it done just because, I thought, no, this is stupid. It was just like a mistake or
How old
an
were you?
episode.
How old were you at this time?
Young 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, young 30s.
That'll play in later.
Yeah.
Because you just know what the cookie cutter answer. You're too young.
Yeah.
To have symptoms like this.
Well, that's interesting because then I also, so then I found a clinic that did functional medicine and happened to pop up on my, Instagram or Facebook. And they were talking about thyroid disorders. I'm like, I have every single one of these symptoms.
Define functional medicine. What do you mean by that?
So, it is a different lens. Is kind of the best way. I like to kind of describe functional medicine as like a tree. Like if the body was a tree, as functional medicine providers, we are like the arborists. So, we get down on the soil level. What nutrition are you missing? What micronutrients are you missing? How can we treat the tree?
So this is what you do now.
This is what I do now, all because of how I was treated.
We'll come back to that. Yeah. How is that different than conventional? People think this is witchcraft, right?
Yeah.
And it really pisses me off too. How is it different than conventional medicine? Why doesn't your PCP do all that shit?
Well, I think that, I think everyone's intentions when they are a provider are good. Yeah. In general, they want to help the patient.
Yes.
They are limited by time. They are mandated by insurance. And I think that has a huge disconnect. And, unfortunately, as a patient, that's where,
and I think
the shortcomings come in.
I think the problem is, too, is that you have to know how to advocate for yourself to get what you want from conventional medicine.
Right.
Right.
Or you have to pay for it out of pocket.
Which is fine, too, because conventional medicine has the ability to do what you want them to do. And everybody's got a story. Mine was, I'm the customer. So if I'm coming to you for something and I'm asking you questions, I deserve, I think, to know that information. But I have the time and the resources to do my own research and do my own thing. And I get it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But I can interpret information, right? And if something sounds fishy, then it's probably fishy. But if something sounds cool, then I'm in. And so you have to go to your physician and advocate for yourself and say, hey, listen, this is how I feel. And these are the things I would like checked. And if they say, well, I'm sorry, your insurance won't covers it. Well, that's none of your goddamn business what my insurance will cover. I'll pay it. I don't have the means, but I have the attitude.
Yep.
And that's what I finally had to tell one of mine was, I don't care what my insurance won't cover. It doesn't matter. They don't govern me. I'll pay the bill.
Right.
Somehow, some way. But the minute, and so it pisses me off, one, that physicians will actually stop there and go, well, I'm sorry, your insurance wouldn't cover that. That's none of your fucking business. Pardon my language. Mm-hmm. I'll pay it. So go ahead and pull the labs that I want pulled as a provider, and let's get down to the bottom of why you think I should feel, why I think I feel tired, which this isn't me. I'll tell you a story later. No 45-year-old man should feel tired in the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. And if you're not interested in finding out why that's happening, then I'm certainly not interested in coming to you, right? So if they don't have the resources, if people don't have the resources to advocate for themselves, and then they're like, but God, man, I still feel like crap. This is where they find the functional medicine.
Yeah. There is a different way, and like you said, an optimal range is much different than your standard range.
Yeah.
And so I came.
But you found the clinic. And you're like, this sounds like this is me. Yep. I'm clicking all the right buttons, and you walk in. What happens?
Found the clinic, and it was like a conversation like we're having. It was a 30-minute free consultation. They could almost tell me right away what I had going on. Most likely something with my thyroid, most likely some sort of adrenal fatigue. And they offered me a real extensive blood panel. I paid out of pocket for it.
For all of it, or was any of it covered?
If I would have had an HSA or flex spending account, which I didn't, I could have done that, but otherwise it was all out of pocket.
Mostly things that aren't offered on a normal blood screen at a normal physician. Normally you get your your electrolytes, and you get your glucose, and you get they'll do a general lipid panel. Like I had to ask my physician for the ApoB and the Lp(a), and we did the C-reactive protein.
Yep.
She was real interested in my vitamin D, and I was like, I might like you because now you're asking questions that normally people wouldn't ask. And she threw a couple else on there too that weren't standard in a normal annual physical.
Correct.
Because really, and we'll talk about that later. So they did a bigger panel than what you would get at your conventional.
Correct. Much larger panel, 7 different thyroid markers, not just TSH.
And you mean there's more than...
There is much more than the TSH level. So, and I actually had those results with me before I came back to go over them with the providers here.
Yeah.
And that day, I had an OB appointment with my OBGYN to discuss my hormones, my weight gain, like how I was feeling. And I took those labs. I didn't know the results. I didn't know quite how to read them. But I took them with thinking, oh, well, my OB will know how to read them. Look, here's all these results for you. And she's like, yeah, I don't really see anything. Maybe you should try Weight Watchers.
Shut up.
And I thought, oh my God, okay. Like I can hardly walk in the mornings and I am so tired. Like Weight Watchers is not going to do anything with me. And then that afternoon I came back to the clinic and they sat down with me. We talked about the difference between like an optimal level and a standard range for these lab values. Like they gave me a summary of what they had found. And, I had just left a doctor's office that told me that they all looked good. And here I come, and the summary, I had an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It was attacking my thyroid, causing
That's a real thing.
all of my symptoms.
That's a real thing.
That is a real thing. And, my antibodies were sky high. All of my thyroid numbers were, quote, normal, like within an optimal range.
So what in that lab stuck out? Like, how did they diagnose that? The wellness clinic, what information did they use that a physician couldn't?
Well, they should have seen that. My TPO antibodies were greater than 600, and they, that's out. I think normal range is less than 10.
So I'm not going to pretend I know what that is. What is that?
Yeah, so those are antibodies that are triggered by the immune system to attack something. So an autoimmunity attacks certain parts of your body. And so mine happened to attack my thyroid. So had I not done anything, because they kept telling me that my TSH was, quote, normal, eventually
it would have been
abnormal, but I would have suffered now for Lord knows how many years.
Jesus Christ.
And so not only did they find the autoimmune condition, I had multiple nutritional deficiencies. I wasn't absorbing the food that I was taking in. I had high inflammation markers. I needed detox help in my liver, and I had adrenal insufficiency.
But other than that, you were perfectly healthy.
But other than that, I just needed Weight Watchers.
You just needed to lose some weight, Ashley, isn't that?
Uh-huh.
Which is, now, in her defense, that is the answer to a lot of different things for average people, or for some people. Like dropping 30 pounds can make a world of difference. However, and so all of these symptoms were easily masked by the fact that you were chronic nights.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I figured that I would feel terrible working chronic night shift.
Now, when you started, so let's talk about the treatment then. So when you started treatment for all of these deficiencies, mineral and hormonal and all these kind of things, were you still working nights?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go with the treatment plan. What's the treatment plan?
Well, we started out on, number one treatment plan for Hashimoto's is to eliminate gluten.
Okay.
And it made a world of difference.
Still don't understand what that is, but go ahead. That's a protein made out of...
So, gluten is like in wheat, flour. Yep. So like our pizza crust or cake or any dessert type items, bread, pasta, carbs, yes. And there is a protein in gluten that is very similar to our thyroid. And so we eat that, and the body with that autoimmunity starts to attack even more.
Do we manufacture that in the food that we make, or is that a natural occurring protein in, so like when we harvest the wheat?
Yeah, naturally occurring.
Okay.
Yep. So even doing like organic doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
Doesn't make a difference.
So you cut that out.
Also helped my inflammation immensely. I could walk again without, holding on my back.
I'm going to tell you a secret. It's not really a secret. When I started flying, I had everybody kind of made fun of me. Like, we were chewing ibuprofen, right? Like, neck and the knee, whatever. It didn't matter. Like, everything hurt. And I was, still am an avid CrossFitter after I went 14 minutes without saying that. But I'm telling you, when I cut out carbs, and I haven't had a carb in, like a decade, all that pain went away.
Yeah. Not a carb. Like, a carb would be like veggie.
No. I like so
gluten.
Yes. Well, grains, pastas,
sure.
Breads and pastas. Basically, I eat a shit ton of fruit, but for the most part, and like processed foods. So no more treats and whatever the case may be. Anything in a wrapper or bag, chips are gone. That kind of stuff. I'm not even joking. I haven't taken ibuprofen in years.
Yeah.
Right now, I finally got my neck fused, but that's a different deal. I don't take any pain medicines. I don't take gabapentin. I don't take any of that shit. And I still do double unders and box jumps and all that kind of stuff that I'm not supposed to do.
Not only did it help my joint pain like immensely, my quote depression that I was diagnosed with as a child, gone.
Shut up.
Yep.
Man, I love this.
Yeah.
I don't think an hour is going to be enough.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd when it comes to this shit. So you cut out gluten, all your joint pain went away. Gee, weird.
Yeah.
Supplements?
So we started on kind of like an elimination diet. So gluten was one of the big ones that was removed and is still removed from my diet just because of the autoimmunity. But we also removed like dairy.
Yeah.
Initially removed like some seeds and nuts because they can be harder to digest, especially when I'm not absorbing well. And then they put me on what supplements that I needed. So we did a lot of like gut healing shakes that have like a lot of nutrition to help you to absorb things better, like heal that leaky gut where things are leaking through that gut lining. Gluten is one, there is zonulin in gluten, and that is known to break apart the tight junctions in the gut. And so undigested food, toxins from our environment, all these things can get through our gut lining into our bloodstream. And they're not supposed to be there, and the body does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it causes this cascade of inflammation, as soon as this happens. So, it was tough at first to eliminate these foods, but God, I have never felt better.
Yeah. I'm not saying I still don't have a little, like, some tweaks here and there. Like, I'm 80% sure I have a torn hip labrum, and that hurts, right? And every now and then my knee hurts, but it doesn't prevent me from, where before...
Oh, yeah.
I'd be like, nah, listen, I can't do this because I hurt, and I'm not going to do it because I'll just hurt more. So you're on the supplements, you're still working nights. Are you sleeping better?
Yeah, sleeping much better. Sleeping better. Digestion. I didn't have a whole lot of digestive issues, but they got better. I didn't know that there was an issue. I didn't realize that bloating was there, and then I'm like, oh, well, it's gone. Yeah.
Were you already in NP school at the time?
No.
So so two things. How long after you did your initial consultation did you do a re-consult and get those same labs drawn?
4 months.
And what were the changes?
My antibodies were down, inflammation was down, fasting insulin was better. We also did a stool test. I had overgrown bacteria.
That sounds gross.
Yep, I know. But autoimmune, your immune system starts in the gut. And so clearly something is happening there.
Yeah.
I had a dysbiosis of my good bacteria, so we got good probiotics in me. Did a little herbal antibiotics to get rid of the overgrowth of bacteria. We did hormone testing with a Dutch test, so that's urine hormone testing. We did saliva cortisol testing.
So there's a lot more available out there for people if they're willing to invest. So the Achilles heel in all this stuff, and as much as I love this and believe in it, and doing your own research and finding different ways and being an advocate for yourself and telling people like surface level answers, I don't think go far enough anymore. Like you can't just, in my opinion, go to your physicians, regardless of the relationship you had with them, and in 7 minutes they figure out, because that's the standard, right? Is these people need to get people in and out every 7 minutes to make money. To make their money, to make their clinic money, or do whatever. And people, just don't have the time or the resources to figure it out, right? And they just want their annual test, their annual physical, and they'll say, well, listen, man, your LDLs are 110, so it's time to start your statin. And everybody's like, okay, because, you're a scientist. So they're not educated on the fact that there's more out there. And so you can find more out there. There's a bigger lens to look through. And so you were on the team, and because of this, did you say, you know what, this is the kind of stuff I want to get into?
Absolutely.
And this is the kind of stuff that I want to make sure that I have a voice and a platform to get people to understand. You don't have to buy into it, because there are your naysayers, right? I have friends who are like, nah, it's witchcraft. Why do they say that, do you think?
I just don't think they know any different. And, until you can feel the difference, if someone starts care with me, I don't have to convince them, because they'll feel it. My favorite visit with my patients is 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
2 weeks, 14 days. And most of them feel, if not significantly better, some improvement in different aspects of their life.
But the fact that knowing, I'll give you a quick story. I ran into a friend of mine not too long ago. He's 45. His dad, his grandpa, his uncle, all three dropped dead of a heart attack at 55. Okay? So he's coming. And I said, hey man, how you feeling? He's like, I said, didn't you say you had a calcium score not too long ago? He's like, yeah, I got the test done. I said, great, what was it? Can you mind telling me? And he goes, yeah, it was like 100 or something. And I said, oh. He goes, well, what do you mean? Oh, that's good, right? And I said, well, no. It means, personally, no. It means you have calcified plaque in your coronary arteries at 45, and that sounds bad to me. But his physician said, it's only 100. Don't worry about it. Okay. Let's fast forward in the conversation, and he goes, I am tired all the time, Jason. In the middle of the day, I could just lay down and take a nap. And he goes, my feet tingle, and I'm on a blood pressure medicine. And I was like, geez, Pete. I said, all right, what does your doctor say about that? I'm not even shitting you. He says, well, he told me that's just part of getting old. I said, well, you got to find another goddamn doctor. I said, because that guy graduated last in his class and is a dipshit. If his best answer after 8 years of doctoring school and being a physician, and the best answer he can come up with is, I don't know what to tell you, man, it's just part of being 45. Could you imagine? And then people don't know any better. No. And they're like, oh, okay. It looks
this is who we're supposed to trust.
Yes. And I'm not saying every physician is like that.
No, there's great ones.
Well, and I think we do a really good job in the industry of acute. So heart attacks, strokes, trauma.
And that's what we need them for as well.
Yes. We do a great job. What we don't do a good job, I think, of in America is this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't feel good, and there's a lot of people that don't feel good, right? They all come in and they whine about how shitty they feel, and they're 30 pounds overweight, and they stay up too late watching Netflix, and they eat like shit. And that in itself, you fix that, can change a lot of people's I don't feel good.
Drink enough water. Have some nutrition. Have some veggies.
See the sun. Go to bed. Do all the kind of shit you're supposed to do. But there's a big group, too, that are just, there's something off. I don't know what it is. I don't know that I should feel this way, but I don't know that I shouldn't. And they go see their PCP, and they're like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Just take a nap and call it good. So anyway, long story short, I sent him to game day, which right? Yeah. Our friend Lindsay is running that thing, and I think the world of her. She's super smart. She's in it for the right reasons. It's in West Des Moines. It's close to home. And I said, go see this lady. And he feels like $1 million. Yeah. And you know what? They tested his testosterone that was, quote, at his other place, normal, but wasn't optimal. And guess what? He cut out the normal stuff, like quit drinking so much, God damn it, and changed a little bit of his food. But he's on test. Yeah. To be optimal. And he's like, I just followed up with him yesterday to make sure I had the accurate information for the show. And he's like, I feel great, man. Who would have thought?
I know. It's amazing. I like to describe functional medicine to my patients kind of like car maintenance. Like, we buy these expensive cars and then, putting premium gas in, doing your oil changes, rotating your tires, I don't know anything else about cars, but the normal maintenance to make your car last as long as possible. That is what we are here for. We are here for the longevity of life. Like, you do not have to suffer. Like, you should be able to just thrive every day and not just like survive day to day. That is not what life is supposed to be like. Like, there is.
Here's what people are going to hear, and this is valid, and I have the problem too, right? Like, I'm really big into peptides right now. I think peptides would be an advantage. But here's what people are going to hear. This is all great, Ashley, but how do I pay for it?
Yeah.
Like, why do we not treat it as we do conventional bullshit medicine when clearly there are success stories out there? Clearly there's research to support things, but yet we're not going to fix the industrial complex of healthcare. But people are going to look at it and go, listen, I don't know. I can't afford that.
Well, and I think, and I have patients say that, and I think that myself, but I was also a single mom when I afforded this on my own. And I think that you pay for things and invest in things that mean something to you.
Sure.
So, I gave up my Starbucks every day, or, like maybe we didn't go out to eat as much. I could have used an HSA had I had that. I didn't at the time. I actually used Care Credit, which is a 0% interest, like health credit card. So that is how I paid for it. And it literally changed my life. And I think back now, like, of the amount that I spent during like this 4 months here, how much would I have spent now? God, 7 years, in this time span on other doctor's visits, other over-the-counter trying to feel better.
Co-pays and premiums and deductibles.
Prescriptions that they would have put me on. MRIs.
Yes.
Injections in my back because I couldn't walk. I would have spent well over what I paid to actually feel good, to actually learn how to eat, to learn what supplements I needed. And now I do like a yearly large blood panel, to check in on myself, to, I took myself off my antidepressants. I actually, I supplement myself based on my COMT gene. So, and
who would have known?
I know it's just
so. When you got into nurse practitioner, you with the intention of doing this.
100%.
So is it a specialized? So is a nurse practitioner? It's just a general education, and then you can specialize outside of that.
Sure. So I did family nurse practitioner because still in the back of my head I thought, gosh, if I ever want to go back to my roots, I can do ER, urgent care, or something. But my intention was to never work in that medical model again. Yeah.
Because it's a broken thing.
It
is a terrible industrial system.
And I would be restricted on what I could do and how I could help my patients. And that's not the provider that I want to be. Now, granted, I can't speak on being a provider in that medical model because I never was. I went straight from NP school, and then I started at doing the functional medicine online, and so that was a self-driven program over about 5 or 6 months.
So there's an additional education that you need to do functional medicine.
Yep.
I got you.
Yeah. And I don't know if every, quote, functional medicine provider has that. We here all have that.
They're popping up, right, though, these clinics. Mm-hmm. There's, and I don't know, the kind of the first I heard of it, and I don't even know if this exists, or if this is true, but across the hall from my old PCP, there was a business called Manality or something like that. Sure. And I assumed it was like for a bunch of middle-aged, overweight, balding dudes that were getting some sort of voodoo done. And I don't even know what it is, but now, and hopefully it's a well-off clinic and it's doing the right thing. But now there's game day, there's over here, and there's probably a bunch popping up, and because there seems to be a market for it. Is the point? Is that there's obviously, but is it just for the wealthy? Like the dudes that go to the office and they already have boats and lake houses and they do that kind of stuff? Or do you see all walks of life coming through the doors?
We see all walks of life. I've got, people who are in college, paying off a care credit to be able to do this. I have retirees. I've got, moms, dads. I have all walks of life. And, I think you'll invest in what's really important to you. And, I think that like the hormone replacement that these places are doing is important and can be very beneficial for people as well. But then I also look at it as a little bit different lens. Like, why is his testosterone so low?
Yes.
Like, what's that root cause? Like, is he insulin resistance? That will decrease testosterone.
Yes.
Does he have too much cortisol? That will. Oxidative stress.
Vitamin D levels are low.
Yeah, vitamin D. Like, what? Like, did we?
He doesn't chop enough wood.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, trying to find, like, can we fix that? Because if we don't fix your insulin resistance that's causing your low testosterone and we just give you testosterone, well, now we're going to be dealing with type 2 diabetes in 5 years, 10 years.
We got about 20 minutes left. And this is probably one of my favorite conversations. I could nerd out on this stuff all day.
It's amazing.
And we may just have to cut it off at an hour and then may part 2. We'll see where it goes. But I dig this. So I'm a middle-aged 40-year-old guy. I'm coming to your clinic. Listen, Ashley, I don't know what it is, but over the last year I've gotten really fat. And this is hypothetical, of course. This is me being a patient.
Yeah.
I want to play a role here. I've gotten really fat. I don't seem to chase my wife around the house like I used to. I'm tired all the time. I don't really have a lot of interest in things. And my doctor says that I should probably just take naps, and that's part of getting old. I don't know. Is that true, Ashley? Here I am. I'm your patient. What's next?
Sure. Yeah.
What are we going to do?
No, like, I'm glad that you found us. This is where you need to be. Like, we're happy to help. And, I'd love to start with this, large blood panel. We're going to look at like 70 different markers from your electrolytes, your iron, your cholesterol, 7 different thyroid markers.
Well, listen, I'll stop you right there. I've been taking this Man Stack because it's got testofen.
Yes.
And listen, it said that if I was over 40 and I was tired and I didn't want to chase my wife around the house, that this is the shit I need to be on. So I've only been on it for 2 weeks. How's
it working?
Well, listen, I don't know. I'm supposed to do it for longer than 2 weeks.
Right,
and then when it runs out, I have to buy more. And then, so I don't really know, but I don't want that to skew my lab results. Will that skew my lab results?
I highly doubt it. Where you get your supplements makes a huge impact as well.
Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, so we're going to do this big lab panel, and we're going to come back, and you're going to look at 70 different markers, which I didn't even think you could.
Yep.
And they're all legit, right? They're not like...
Yeah, I mean...
Are they amino acid chains or
no,
hormone levels?
We throw hormone levels in there, like your testosterone, free testosterone, bioavailable, estrogen's an important one for males to check as well.
For sure.
Homocysteine levels, CRP levels. We look at an ANA marker, which is an autoimmunity non-diagnostic marker. If that comes back positive, it's kind of like a red flag to us. Like, okay, we need to be looking at the gut, what's happening in the gut that's triggering this ANA to be positive, and what is making this immune system so activated right now. We look at a rheumatoid factor. We look at all of these different markers from a little bit of a different lens and a different quote range of normal. So
what would my treatment be if I came to you and there's got to be an average subset of people that are about the same, right? They're a little chubby. They have sedentary jobs. They can't keep up with their kids much anymore. They're like too tired to play some catch. And you're going to go draw their labs, and you're going to sit them back down and say, all right, here's where I think the problem is. Is there a standard treatment, or does everybody get individualized care?
Everyone's is different based on what we're finding. We will help you like step by step on the diet wise. Like, where do we need to start? With your diet. We're going to remove foods that cause inflammation and are harder to digest as we start to heal your gut.
And those are normally processed food.
Processed foods. Grains can, even like rice. Rice is a quote good food, but for some people causes inflammation. So initially we're going to remove grains.
Okay.
We're going to remove dairy. Initially we're going to remove, processed foods, like you said.
And then how long after that are we starting to reevaluate if it's working or not working?
We're going to do a food sensitivity test, looking at, do any of these foods, like the common foods that you eat, are they triggering your immune system to cause a cascade of inflammation? Because they could be, quote, good foods, like almonds, let's say. I've had a patient come back that has a level 3 sensitivity to almonds. Well, I would have said, absolutely, eat those almonds, like healthy fat, that's great for you. Yeah. But thankfully, we know we're going to remove those for a while because it's clearly triggering the immune system, which in turn causes, systemic inflammation.
Jesus, I don't even know this stuff. Really?
Yep.
How long have you been doing this? Functional medicine?
About 6 months.
That's it? Seems like you should be longer. And you did. So give me a success story, without breaking HIPAA. Give me a success story. And I say this because I want people to know. And so when I speak of things, I usually have specific people in my head of who I'm talking to, right? I want you to talk. I want you to give me a success story on somebody that you've treated who's come in and said, listen, I'm middle-aged. I'm not where I think I should be. My doctor says that I should take more naps, right? And then they come and see you, and now what?
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I think of one gentleman who just had his retest review, so that's about 4 months later. We're retesting things. I hardly recognized him when he came in.
Please tell me he's also type 1 diabetic.
He is not, but most of our visits were virtual, and so for his last visit, he actually came in to see me, and he had lost almost 30 pounds.
Jesus. In how much time?
4 months.
Which is a fairly sustainable pace, right?
Sure.
So when we look at these people that do, and God love them, they're at least doing something. But like Farrell's isn't a sustainable weight loss pace. They don't teach you to do things every day that's going to keep weight off. You're going to drop a lot of weight. So like if you're going on vacation, great, and get in a class, knock off 10 or 12 pounds, win the award, and go. But probably later in life, that stuff's going to come back, right?
Yeah.
And so this guy over that amount, because of lifestyle changes, drops some serious weight.
Weight, inflammation. One of his complaints was severe fatigue, which we realized was due to pretty significant adrenal fatigue. His DHEA was very low. His saliva cortisol spikes were all messed up in his circadian rhythm timing, which we have been working on, trying to get him up, get first morning light on his eyeballs, increase that heart rate first thing in the morning. He's outside grounding in the first thing in the morning, and he's feeling so much better. His triglycerides went from over 450 to less than 100.
Jesus.
In 4 months.
Is he supplementing?
Yep, we do supplements for cholesterol because he did not want to go on a statin. His LDL came down nicely to the point that hopefully he won't need to. We did particle testing to see, with that higher LDL, what are the size of those particles, because someone with a normal LDL, if they're all small particles, that can still cause more problems than someone with an extremely high LDL, and they're all large particles. Those large particles don't get into the
LDLs aren't the killer, right? We should have realized that over time, and there's plenty of studies to back it up, that LDLs aren't the killer.
So he is...
Just because you have a high LDL doesn't mean you're going to drop dead of a heart attack and that you need to be on a statin.
Correct.
By itself, as its only metric.
He is no longer in the pre-diabetes range for his A1C. So.
And somebody can do that reasonably well with just cutting out the processed shit, right?
Yep.
And getting a little bit of exercise.
Enough water intake, good quality sleep. Self-care, relaxation. We're always, I think we push so much exercise, which is important. Yeah. But on the backside of that, we still need, in our environment, especially in the EMS world, it is kind of like chaos all the time. And I think we kind of thrive on that. But our nervous system is just on high alert all the time.
All the time.
And so even more than exercise, what are you doing for relaxation? What are you doing to bring down that autonomic nervous system? The cold plunges, like meditation, deep breathing.
What a great point, because I look back on several, just my career, in that 24 hours, I was always keyed up. Even if not, and I don't know how, some people are really good at napping on their shift or, doing projects on their shift. I was never good at that because I knew that the interruption was coming. And so I was just always turned on. And then even if I may not have done a flight or a call in 24 hours, right? But I am always turned on and ready to go. There's very little time. And so I can feel it the next day, like I didn't sleep good and I'm still a little keyed up. And I feel like in my personal life, I'm always a little keyed up.
I can tell from your pupils.
Right.
Because they're dilated.
Yeah, because I'm always keyed up.
Yeah.
I'm always ready to go. And I even snuck in a workout before I came here because my workout for me is mental. Like it is not I give two shits if I'm going to grow giant biceps, but I do care that my mental acuity is taken care of. Like, so that was a purely mental, just to say that I did it. It was kind of a shitty workout. I ain't going to lie. Like I had to cram it in and I hate that. My garage was cold. But anyway, I hate that. But I had to do it because I have to get it knocked off the mental checklist.
Sure.
Otherwise, I feel worse at the end of the day. I'm like, God, you're such a sissy. You didn't work out. Like, you made an excuse. You let the day win. I hate that. But you're right. I was keyed up all the time. What are the plans moving? So I guess I don't know. We got about 9 minutes left. I just think it's great. So what do you say to those people that think this is witchcraft and voodoo? Right? There's people out there. They're like, no.
I mean, there's people that don't believe it, but what they're currently doing isn't working either.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
good point.
You got to choose your hard. Like either, because when we kind of present like, here's the diet changes we're going to make initially. Like for some people, this is drastic changes.
Yeah, sure.
And this is, I've had people cry, because they are nervous, which, I literally walk them step by step. But, this can be, we are so emotionally attached to food and it's, the time we have with our families. And
are they getting educated by their PCP and that kind of stuff? Like, don't you think that is a first line education of, listen, I know that I'm getting older, but I'm flying much younger people that are metabolically in shitstorms, right? That they're getting coronary artery bypass grafting.
The stuff in our food
that are overweight. They're overweight. Their shins and their feet are terrible looking. They're ruddy and flaky, and you can tell they've got peripheral vascular disease, and they're younger than me. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're getting educated, but they would be getting, like, these people normally have cardiologists and pulmonologists and anything that ends in ist.
Well, I don't think that the docs have been educated. I mean, I think, probably back in med school, they did a chapter or two on nutrition, but no, Do
you think it's important, and this is a bad conversation to get into at the end, because it really kind of lends its own talk. Do you think your physician should look like they are doing the things right in life?
I would hope so.
I think so too.
I would hope so. I think everyone has kind of their own story and their own struggles, and maybe they're trying to work through something as well. But I mean, I think it's hard to not practice what you preach every day. I think that's difficult.
It's hard to take nutrition advice from somebody who's fat.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That's a whole other conversation. Only because I listened to a podcast where they kind of danced around this subject. They were like, well, you can get a real dumb guy that's on steroids, or you can get a real smart guy that's overweight. But I think that first impressions matter, right?
Right. But it also doesn't mean that they aren't actively working themselves to lose that weight. So I think, I think they're constrained by time. I mean, they don't have 30 minutes to sit down and teach you how to read a nutrition label. And
the system doesn't like you healthy.
They don't make money if we're healthy.
That's exactly correct. And I know that there's people that'll be like, oh, Jason, that's just a conspiracy. They really have your best. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think they have their best intentions in mind. I think if you go to the emergency room because you're having a heart attack, a stroke, or a traumatic injury, they have your best intentions in mind.
100%. We need them.
Survival, yes. And good outcomes.
Just like your car insurance is wonderful when you have an accident, but it's not going to change the tires and the oil changes and gas.
You have to do that on your own. Like that is your own. You have to take that on yourself to do that kind of stuff. Same with your body, same with your health.
Correct.
And I think that the take-home message is if you don't like what you're hearing from your physician, you don't have to take it.
No, there's thousands of physicians out there. There's thousands of providers.
It's a free market, but
yeah.
now people might be constrained with coverage, like in network, out of network. I get it. Like I'm on that side too. I was able to shop around, and I loved my old PCP, but because of insurance reasons, I had to switch allegedly because she was out of network or whatever. And I was able, and I went in and I said, hey, listen, this is an interview. Like, you come highly recommended, but here's what I'm looking for out of a physician. You're going to have to be in this room longer than 7 minutes because I have some questions, and
Right.
your answers will dictate on whether or not I come back. Because I feel like I'm the customer here. And if you want my business, then we need to either align or I need to go find another physician. And she was great. She's like, yeah, what do you want to do? Tell me why you want to do it. I just had to know the why. And she was on board with all of it. She's a what I would consider a conventional physician. She's not a functional wellness person.
And I think we're getting more and more of like the two merged together. And 10 years down the road, I think there's going to be even, I think people will seek out functional medicine even more because
I hope so. I really do.
The care that they get and the different perspective and like, actually finding like the root cause of the problem instead of just like fixing the symptoms, kind of like that tree analogy. Like, I'm not just fixing the leaves by painting them green again. Like, I want to find out what's missing in the soil so that, I heal the roots that heals the leaves themselves, so.
Man, what a great analogy, because just because you plant something doesn't mean it's going to grow.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, we got about 3 minutes left and it's Saturday. So I know that let's get on about your day. Is there anything else? I think we'll do another episode for sure. Like, this is such good information.
Yeah.
And I really do nerd out on this stuff. I feel like I could sit here all day, but it's Saturday.
Understandable. No, it's been fun.
Yeah. Would you come back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we talk some more shit about healthcare?
Yeah.
Because this is one of my favorite things to do. All right. Thanks, Ash.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Shift Change Podcast. I need to ask if you would leave a rating. I think that it helps people who are new to the podcast find it quicker. It doesn't do me any good, but it does help other people that are looking for the Shift Change Podcast on Spotify or Apple. It just comes up quicker the more ratings that you give it. Whether you give it a 2 or a 5, it doesn't make a difference. It just helps other people. If you need to get a hold of me, contact me via my email, the show email, which is talkshiftchange@gmail.com. Or you can message me on Instagram at talk.shiftchange. At talk.shiftchange on Instagram. As always, thanks for listening. I could not have imagined how well this podcast has been received. So, as always, I appreciate it. Work hard, be kind.